Hey guys, how's it going? Today we are planting 6 different types of evergreen out in the garden, ranging from a ground cover type all the way up to kind of a larger, really interesting weeping variety. And look at these. Spring is just the best time for evergreens because you can see all of their bright, soft new growth. Just gorgeous. And look at the cones on this one. This one's actually called a red cone Norway spruce. We do have one of these planted out in the south garden, but this one I am going to be planting near the pond. And this one grows about 12 feet tall by 8 feet wide, and it's got a very upright appearance, but it's also very architectural. It kind of takes on a little bit of an open, like sweeping kind of form with a little bit of the weep factor as well. I just think they're the most beautiful, especially with these cones. You gotta love those. They're so cute. And then we've got a spruce called a royal splendor, which I've been eyeballing this one down at the garden center for the last several weeks, and I'm just so excited about it. Now this one stays more upright, a little bit more formal, I guess, in its appearance, and it does get bigger, 25 feet tall by 15 feet wide. I think they're both hardy, both hardy down to negative 40 degrees. This one will put on over a foot of growth every year, while this one I think puts on about 8 to 10 inches per year. Then right below that, we've got a couple varieties of boxwood. We've got Sprinter right here, and we've got Mont Bruno. These are both replacements for boxwoods out in the garden that didn't come through winter very nicely. So the Sprinter is going to be going along the west side here. I'll show you the one that didn't make it here in a second. And then this one's going behind the Hartley in a container. We've got 2 containers flanking each of the benches in the parterre, and so we've got 4 Mont Brunos back there, and one of them, it never turned back to its nice green color. It still looks really bronze, so I'm gonna replace it. This one right here grows 3 feet by 3 feet. My parents have these in their garden, and my mom hardly ever shears them, and they look beautiful. They just stay in really nice tight balls. They don't like throw out random branches, and they're pretty winter hardy, or supposed to be, more so in the ground than in a container for sure, but they're hardy down to negative 30. Yeah, so a zone 4. And the Sprinters grow 2 to 4 feet tall and wide, and they're a zone 5 through 9. And that is what we have on the right-hand side here. And then for part of the left-hand side, these right here are winter gems. And then we have a blue Pacific shore juniper. Now this one grows 1 foot tall by 7 feet wide. And I thought this would be such a perfect one to put near some of the boulders in the pond area, just to kind of slowly creep around and soften those boulders up a little bit. The zone on this one is a 5 through 9, but the thing about this one, it's got kind of like a silvery cast to some of the needles. I don't know if that picks up on camera, but it's very soft. It's not prickly like other junipers are. So I don't know, I thought it'd be fun to try it. And then we have this super interesting weeping juniper called a Tolson's Blue Weeping Juniper. It's hardy down to zone 4. Now this one, you guys, can reach 20 feet tall by 10 feet wide. You can see sort of the structure here that you can expect. Isn't that the coolest thing? I'm so excited about it. Now, I would love to put this in the pond area if we can find just the right spot, but I want to make sure we can accommodate for its growth. But I just think that these would be really fun to maybe strategically prune and keep them really kind of open and really interesting looking. I just think they're so cool. And junipers are probably the easiest evergreens for us to grow in our area, for sure. So I'm glad we've got a couple of them here in the Gator. Also, I did want to quick acknowledge the fact that my voice still sounds so crummy. I know it's probably hard to listen to. I do apologize for that, but I did want to assure you that I feel 100% fine. There was about 4 days between our last project, when I was starting to lose my voice, and this one. I got a sinus infection. It was a whopper. I was down for 2 full days. I got antibiotics, and I've been on those for several days, and I feel really good. But we are taking it light today, just planting 6 things, and it feels really good to be out here. So I'm sorry, just bear with me with my voice today. Spring's the worst time to get sick. But we're going to take a look at this boxwood over here. And of course, it's a corner one, right? Of all the ones to lose, it's where the design kind of, takes off in a different direction. This one just doesn't look very good. We've got a little bit of life in this stem right here, but that's not worth keeping the whole plant. So we're just going to pop this one out, put the new one in, and it'll fill in quickly, I think. There's one more questionable one. Maybe it's a little bit further than questionable. I think it's right down here. It was starting to go last year, right here. Yeah, I think we'll still leave it. You can still see all of the spider mite damage in here, but there's still a lot of life. These don't look that great though. I don't know. We'll keep our eyes on this section, and we might need to pop a couple new ones in there too. Overall, though, they're looking good. So let's take care of this one real quick, and then we will move on to the boxwood behind the Hartley, kind of knock those two replacement projects out. Oh, it looks so small. Oh my goodness. There we go, all finished. That looks better than the flopped over half-dead boxwood, even though it's so small, but I'm happy to have something alive and green there. I feel like there's always a certain percentage of doing this, like replacements that you have to do every year, especially if you've got a lot of plants. It's just kind of inevitable, especially in hedges, I swear. Or I guess it's just more noticeable in hedges. Ooh, you guys, right across the way, look at this. Our pink petticoat columbine have really come into bloom the last couple of days. Oh, they are so pretty. I love this perennial. Even more because those were started from seed, and I've got 2 more flats of seedlings to plant out. Okay, project number 2. So here in the parterre, we've got the 2 pots on either side of the benches, and from a distance, they all look good. And these are great on this side, so you can see how nice that looks right there, but it's this one right over here that we need to pop out. In fact, this morning I came back out here and thought, is it really gone? And it is. It's just, it's got like a dry, crispy sort of appearance and feel, as opposed to this one, which is much more supple and the leaves don't look desiccated. So anyway, let's pop that out and get the new one in. Okay, that looks much better, and it was very easy. The whole thing came out in pretty much one piece. There's already drip running up into the container, so we didn't have to replace any of that, and it's just looking much more lively than it was before. Hey, buddy. Okay, next spot is right over here, and this is where the red cone Norway spruce is going to go in place of this pine, which is pretty much done. And I don't know exactly why it didn't survive, but yeah, not looking good at all. Look at that, pretty crispy. I actually think it's gonna look really nice to have that deep green right here, and it can just do its thing. Also, a happy update here, our chase trees, which I thought had all died, are pushing new growth. So look around the base here, there's a lot of new growth. There's new growth on the branches. And like even this one, we've got buds right here and they still feel flexible. So we left them all alone because I was just thinking maybe they behave like the chatalpas and they just push growth really late. So anyway, that's a new one for me. I'm excited about that. This one should be pretty easy to pop right out of there and put the new one in. I actually think I'm gonna like the structure of this spruce better than the structure of the pine. Sometimes I don't know, I'm kind of glad that it happened, that a plant didn't thrive. That was hardly rooted in. No wonder it's not thriving. Huh. That's interesting. That looks so pretty right there. So pretty. I love it. I think as it grows, 8 foot wide is what this one gets. So 4 feet, it'll kind of come over the rock, not so much that it's going to hide it, but just enough to where it'll incorporate that boulder and just have it peeking out. I just think it's going to be so pretty. And right now it's sitting at about, I don't know, 2.5 feet tall. It's going to get 12. So, I mean, it's just going to fill in this space and look absolutely beautiful. I think it's gorgeous. I amended the drip in this area because I realized, okay, so we've got brown drip tube already through this area, which has emitter holes every 18 inches. And then I discovered the blue pine that died had two 1 gallon per hour emitters going to it, and the Mugo right here had two 2 gallon per hour emitters going to it. That's so much. So I cut all of that out. I left the brown drip tube in, and I'm just gonna watch it because evergreens just do not need that much water. They need a little bit. I mean, especially the first year. And that's the hard part for us here is that, these brand new planted evergreens are going to need a little extra attention. You don't want to be dragging hoses to them every day or every other day to keep them happy that first year, but you've got to remember to go back in after the fact and pull some of that drip as the plants establish themselves a little bit more. So anyway, that was a good reminder to me to double check as I'm going through what kind of drip is running to the evergreens. But I just think this is the perfect plant for this area. Just absolutely wonderful. And I feel like my voice is getting a little bit better as the day goes on. Wishful thinking, maybe. I also found a Cheeto. That's not for me. It's got Samantha's name written all over it right there. So funny. All right, we are going to whip around here to the other side of the stream. Right over here. I think I would like to put the weeping juniper right in here. I think that would be absolutely beautiful. It would give us that blue color right here. We've got the birch. We just planted this Centara double purple lilac. We've got a jack pine here and a green Norway spruce. So if we try this out, let's see what it looks like. Oh, I think that would be so perfect right there. Yes, we're gonna do it. It fits perfectly in this space. And because it grows 10 feet wide, so that's 5 foot from center, it's not gonna come and encroach on our lane right here. It'll kind of stay right up in this area. But I think it is beautiful. And that leaves us a little space still right up here, which I think I wanna put our Rising Sun Redbud possibly right up at the very tippy top here. That'd be pretty. Or something, you know, like that right up in here. And we do have a bunch of the Blonde Ambition blue grandma grass up in here, which I've got a heck of a lot more of that. So we can start banking this area out with more of it, I think. So that leaves us with one more evergreen to plant, the Royal Splendor Norway spruce. Let's go do it. And there's the Royal Splendor. I wanted to stand back here so that you could kind of see with the birch tree grouping right here and that. It's so pretty. We've got some beautiful rhubarb in here and some Invincible ruby hydrangeas. Now we can work on filling in the rest of this little section right here. So we're near the berry beds, near the formal flower garden. I love it. And again, this one will grow 25 by 15, so it will be a presence in here for sure. Such a beautiful evergreen. And you guys, that is going to do it for our evergreen planting projects for today. I love it. I love where every single one of them went, and I feel like a couple of them, especially that red cone Norway spruce, was just such the perfect plant next to that rock, and the Tolson's weeping juniper on that berm. So, so pretty. I love it. I love when you feel like you found just the right spot for everything. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you for putting up with my voice. Hopefully in the next couple of days, you start hearing it clear up. That's the hope. Anyway, hope you guys are having a great day and we'll see you in the next one. Bye. All right, P.S. you guys. So I was just talking to my mom about all the evergreens that I got planted today. I was so excited about it. And so I was just kind of recounting the varieties that I put in the ground because we were together when I picked all of those up. And then I got to that little ground cover juniper and I thought, I never planted that. Where did it go? I think what happened is as I was pulling things out, it got buried beneath something that had died. And so I think I pulled it off the back of the gator right into our debris pile. So we're gonna go out there and see if that's where it's at, and we're gonna fish it out and we're gonna get it planted. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is where I dumped everything. I think I see it. Oh my goodness. There it is. The poor thing. And this has been sitting out here for a few hours. Like I finished my project at least a couple hours ago. All right, back to the pond area. I think that's gonna be a really good spot for it. So growing out 7 feet, it can kind of go around the bottom of the oak and it only be a foot tall. I wanna keep everything in this little section right here really low so we don't block the view of the pond right up here. Yeah, I think that'll be perfect. And there we have it. It looks great right there. It happened to be right next to a drip tube and the soil is nice and moist, so I don't think we're gonna have to add any drip to it. I think this will be a really good location. And I think that kind of drapey nature that it takes on will look really pretty, kind of coming over the berm and then growing toward the rocks over there. Now we're done.